everyone. Good evening in Nigeria. It's just about noon in this place, and I want to take this time out to appreciate the Navigating with Web platform. I appreciate you for this opportunity, the opportunity to be here today and to share some of the things I know with people. So one of the things I love to do is to empower people and to help them be the best they can possibly be. And doing this tonight gives me that opportunity and platform, and I appreciate NWN for that. So I also welcome you all taking out time of your busy Sunday schedule to attend this event. Thank you. We wouldn't be doing this if you didn't attend. So without wasting our time and would go straight, can I have the all right, guys. So studying abroad made easy season 2. Sometimes last year, my friend in Canada, Blessing, gave us the intro to this series of studying abroad, and the emphasis then was Canada. So for tonight, we'll be doing more of USA. Yeah, but if you have questions regarding Europe, regarding Canada, regarding US, you can always ask me as well. Please time me so that I'll know let me know when I have 5 minutes to end the first session, and then take some response from the audience. So please, I would like the session to be interactive, and I'll appreciate as many people that can turn on their videos so that we can see. Yoruba people will say Ojulorowa. So, all right. So the good news today is that, okay, so the brief outline of what we'll be doing here today. Brief introduction, and then I'll take us through the pre-planning phase, and then talk about how you can prepare, even if you're not ready immediately, how you can set yourself in the pathway for international experience in your academic. So could we please meet everybody? And could we please ensure we are constantly muted? Please, let's respect the meeting and let's be cautious about that. Thank you. So I'll take us through the pre-planning phase, and as well research and preliminary considerations, things you should consider when you are thinking about studying abroad, when you're thinking about studying abroad literally. And then I'll also take us briefly through the application process. I tell you, today's stuff it's enough for a full day event. So I'll just be dishing out more of the just outlines, and like I wouldn't be able to go so deep, but I would go as deep as I can for the benefit of everyone in attendance. However, there is more to come even after this. We'll talk about that much later. So I expect in this event today, secondary school students who are aspiring to have their university education in the US. It's not just for the graduate students. And also I expect parents who want their words to study abroad to be here as well. And I also expect undergraduates that are aspiring to to go abroad for their academics. And I also expect graduate students, professionals to be here today. So we'll be cutting across just 3 quickly as fast as we can. So is the screen shared already? Okay, please, I hope we can share the screen on time so that people can benefit from this and see what I'm taking them through. I wouldn't want to go back afterwards. Thank you. Okay, so I would like to start by saying that there are several opportunities for international students in the US, and you need to know that the United States wants Nigerians, an international student as a whole, to come and study here in the US. Fun fact is that most times a lot of people, yeah, thank you, I can see it now. Okay, so studying abroad made easy. Can you go to the second slide, please? So that's the flag, American flags welcoming you to US already in advance. So, okay, yeah, so this is the introduction. Okay, this is the outline I already said, and proudly sponsored by Navigating with Noel, because what we're dishing out today is what people will hoard from you and you get to pay so much money from. But however, what I'll be doing here today would set you up rightly, and you may not, if you're very smart enough, all I'm going to tell you is more than enough for you to start and complete your application and even settle down properly in the US if time permits. Okay, so can we go to the next slide, please? The third slide, that's where I am. Okay, thank you. So I said there are several opportunities for international students in the US, and the US wants Nigerians to come study in their country. Why? This is because there's a proven track record of excellence with Nigerians that come to US to study. I've heard stories and I've read about Nigerians doing excellently well while in school. I hear like a young lady who was taking 2 majors at the same time. Like she was doing, I think, chemistry. She was doing chemistry and engineering, you know, some very awkward combinations. And she excelled. She was tops in both classes, in both majors. And so they respect Nigerians a lot. And one thing about America is that when they see brain, you know, they respect. When they see that you're good at what you do, they give it to you. They give you the credit and they want you here. So, and that's very important. However, I will also let you understand that it is not just about academics. We'll still talk more about that at the pre-planning phase anyway. So currently, Nigerian Americans are the most dedicated group in the US. That's according to a research by Rice University, that we have more of the Nigerian immigrants into US. The population is, you know, highly knowledgeable, and in fact, like the most comfortable and most successful immigrants community in the United States. So it's a fun fact and it's real. You can check that up yourself as well. And so because of this, universities as well, they make a lot of money from international students. They make a lot of money, you know, having you there. It's a lot of prestige for them, having students from developing nations in their schools. And so we are supposed to come here with our heads held up high, and, you know, knowing that we are wanted and knowing that we are appreciated. So with that, next slide, please. Okay, so at the pre-planning phase, okay, I guess I'll reserve my story for later. I just want us to keep it up for the real things now. So the distance between your current level and your next level is just information. What you need to get to where you have to be, where you need to be, is a matter of your information. And it's very, very funny what just your phone, your telephone you're holding in your hand can do, what ordinary Google search engine can do for you. My friend, when she took the first session of this in Canada, Blessing told us that our entire application to school in Canada for a master's in philosophy in Canada, she did it on her phone, Mm-hmm. Sorry, excuse me, have I been muted? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so I would like to say the pre-planning phase as well entails you making use of the resources you have available already in Nigeria. And that begins by, you know, since I was in 300 level, I was telling some people since 300 level, I'd started planning for my master's in the US, of which I never got to apply for this eventually until about 6 years later. So it took me like a period of 6 years on like continuously devouring materials, researching and knowing so much about it. So, and all of the processes, I didn't consult anyone. I did it myself by the grace of God, because I give myself to the research. I give myself the opportunity to learn. And I'm offering you the same opportunity today. It depends on what you do with it afterwards anyway. So I would like to say and to inform everyone that there's a program that is held at the US Embassy in Lagos, Walter Carrington straight in VI every Wednesday at 9 a.m. So I think somebody will be writing that down every Wednesday at 9 a.m. I don't know how COVID-19 has affected those policies, but then when I was in 300 level till I even finished, I went there like a couple of times for the seminars, and the seminars are free. You just get to the embassy, you speak with the security there, and you tell them you're going to US education inside the embassy. That you're there for a session, for the education session they hold every week, and they're going to direct you to the section where it holds. So they'll just check you in properly. It's free, and then you see that they tell you and expose you to opportunities available for Nigerians in the US. So we might actually talk more about this later, but that's just a hint. If you have questions about that, you could note it down. We'll address it later. And so it's never too, so for me, I started attending, my brother took me there when I was in 300 level, and that was the first time I attended a session. And since then, my mind had really been on it, like I'd been looking forward to it and saying, no, it was something I could see. It was through the things I could hear, the visuals and everything encouraged me to like, no, it's worth pursuing, it's worth waiting for. And that was it for me. And so it's never too early or too late to start planning. Start now. For those of you that are still in secondary school, it's a very good time for you. I would also let you understand that unlike the British system in America, they give you open access in terms of, it's not just about academics. Even if you feel like you're not so smart, you don't have the best or greatest results, or you graduated with a 2.2, or there's still a place for you in America if you have other skills, extracurricular activities, and they also look out for people that have experiences. Nigeria, we're so laid back. We don't really engage in sports and all those things, but here they don't joke with them. Even if the student is not doing too well, it's just an average student, he still gets to have like a full college scholarship. Why? Because he can play football. Why? Because he can play basketball. Why? Because he's good in swimming. Why? Because he's good at karate. Why? Because, he's good. She's a cheerleader. She's the leader of the cheerleading group. So all of those things, skills development and everything, are part of your preparation. So even if you're not applying yet, you're giving yourself a timeline of 2 years or 3 years, or, this is the time to add value to yourself. Make sure you get co-ops, you get awards in your team. And then those are the things you will present in your resume when it's time for you to apply. They do not joke with things like that. They're interested in extracurricular activities, also all the leadership positions in your school, on campus, in your secondary school, whatever level you are. Also your responsibilities at your current place of work as a professional. All those things matter when it's time for you to apply. And so begin to work on those now. Also, they look at your history of volunteer activities. Here, they put so much, emphasis on volunteer activities. They want you to be good to humanity. They want you to be good to your to the society. So if you, I don't know why many of you now are not affiliated with Rotaract, all these Rotary clubs, whatever volunteer groups you find around you, take advantage of it. NWN is a platform. We need volunteers to do a lot of office works and all. Take advantage of these things, of these volunteer positions, because they would, at the end of the day, buy you the scholarship you're looking for. They will buy you the better life you're looking for. Do not despise the days of little beginnings and make use of all these opportunities that come your way. So after this, I would also encourage you to improve your academics, because that's really important as well. The better your academics, the easier it is for you to access scholarships, for you to even get admission into the US. And so to plan for that, begin building your GPA, begin working towards it, even though you might not be applying immediately. And for those that are already there, begin to think of what you can do to add value to what you already have before you then tender your applications. And so also, never underestimate the power of Google. Would begin, that will lead us into the next thing would be doing. Can you go to the next slide, please? Because right on your phone, you can access opportunities. Our phones are not just for us to surf the internet and just watch stuff at random. No, it's for us to discover opportunities for better life. So now I'll just do a quick cheat sheet for us on how to get started in applying for okay, cheat sheets getting started. Number one, type into any search engine, Google included, the top 10 degree or master's or PhD programs in nursing, in law, in newscasting, in political science, in English, whatever it is you want. So you type in top 10 degrees / master or top 10 masters in the program you're interested in the United States. And then you're going to have 1,001 responses. And so I need to tell you, it takes time. It takes time to surf the net. It takes dedication. It takes sleepless nights surfing the net and getting more information, because the more you look, the less you become to see, you start seeing. But when you just look at it, it looks like, oh no, where do I start from? No, you have to devote time to it. You have to, if you're working, it's harder because you have to devote time out of no time to getting more information and then streamlining your options towards what you really want. So I haven't found all those 10 programs, you streamline it to like 5, and then you consider those 5 intently. So when you know that your target is scholarship and you do not have any money saved anywhere as such, so the first thing you do is to go to each of these shortlisted schools. You go to their official websites, not they just mentioned the school summary, their official website for admissions. You go to their admissions, you go to your course of study, and then you see everything you need to see there. So once you open that, you go straight to the funding opportunities. You see funding opportunities. So for international students specifically, first and foremost, because it is different, you see financial aid for citizens, and they won't put for citizens, they just put financial aid options. So when you click on it, it's just typically more for citizens, because here in the US, they go to school for free. They can access federal loans from the beginning of college to the end of college. They're able to collect all these loans, and then when they start working, they pay back, even for those that do not have scholarships here. So it's not a big deal for them to go to school because they have access to educational loans. However, for those of us that are internationals, we do not have access to federal loans, although there exist certain bodies, certain private bodies that are interested in giving out loans to international students, specifically that are schooling in US or in Canada. So I have links for those bodies, but that will be at another class and on another platform where I will share those tips. So watch out for it and look forward to all those ones. And I have people that have been beneficiaries of these opportunities, and many people even get the scholarships right from Nigeria. You apply before you even leave Nigeria, and good for you if you are into the STEM courses, science, tech, engineering, math, or you're into healthcare, or tech. Yeah, those are the major things that are hot cake for things like that. You get your program fully funded, and then when you start working, that's because the prospects of you getting a job immediately after your international studies is like very sure, like almost very certain for those that are looking for degrees in that pathway. So it's easy to get, it's easier, I would say, to get funding for those. But then there's a lot about that, and I didn't have time for that today. Okay, and then so I haven't gone through the shortlisted schools. You assess the funding opportunities, and then you study what are the requirements for your course, and then any school you already see that there's nothing for you international students. Most times, even if they don't have like internal scholarships, they would attach a link to external scholarships for which you could qualify for. So you look to see, am I qualified for it? What are the requirements for this particular scholarship? And is this scholarship, how much is it? Is it able to cover my entire expenses? So all those questions are what you'll be asking yourself. So whatever you discover from that research is what will inform your decision, will make you strike out some schools, will make you continue with some schools. Right? People, it is very expensive to come to the US to school if you do not have funding. It is very, very expensive because even with funding, you still find it tough and difficult. But now thinking you don't even have any support system, you just come, my dear brother, my sister, you have to reconsider and you have to be smart. And one thing the schools do sometimes, they wouldn't like really expose you to what you're coming to face. And so by the time you get here, you have gone too far to go back. Everybody at home already knows, oh, he has gone to US. So, and then you're like, oh my God, I can't go back home. The shame is gonna be too much. What will I even do? You have gone too far, to go back. And that's why many people are here. They left home to come here to school, but then the going got tough. They couldn't pay school fees. And once you're not able to pay your fees, you're sent back home. So most of them are here still hanging around illegally, and you do not want to be in that position. You do not want to be in that situation. And so after that, you ignore schools that do not have funding options. You ignore schools that but that is very hard because it's really rare because all schools have one provision or the other for funding, even for citizens and for international. So look for it, explore these opportunities and make the best of it. When you have questions, you look for the contact person there, right, on that email. Send them an email, tell them, oh yeah, I'm interested in coming to your school. I'm trying to find out what are my opportunities in this school. And I would like to know if I can gain access. I really love this, you give them sweet words, you pump their head. Yeah, I love this school and I really want to be an alumni of this school. I look forward to joining you very soon, but I would like to know what are my financial aid opportunities. And then you present your situation, just back and forth that way. It helps you put yourself in the minds of the people that are over there as well. And people really help around here. But unfortunately, our people have really, gone ahead to take advantage of these opportunities in the wrong way most times. So many times they're skeptical having an African, especially a Nigerian, approaching for one thing or the other. But all the same, we still get to, ask and we still get to ask and trust that we will be favored and ours will be different. And so I would also advise that you attend scheduled open house webinars on the school's website. You will see the day they will be having like a talk and a webinar about that program. So you make sure you confirm the time difference and everything, and you're able to attend. And then when you attend, you have access to like all questions you have that are bothering you concerning the school. So I would, these are very good, and it's also good for you to sell yourself out immediately at that point in time because they are eager to meet with you. And then when you project yourself, they just like you and they find a way to just make it possible for you to come. So take advantage of this. You can't be shy when you're doing international applications, and you cannot be what we do, we call humility in Nigeria. We are dulling ourselves here. We have to speak up. We have to sell ourselves because the market is really competitive. I must tell you, it is highly, highly competitive from year to year. So to distinguish yourself, you must speak up about what you've done, about what you're doing, about your prospects, and you must sell yourself maximally. It is important. And we'll still get to that in your personal statement, your motivational statement. That's another full day topic and a full day talk on how to write your motivational statement, how to write your personal statements and make up for the things you do not have in your resume. So these things are really, really, really important. Okay, can I have the next slide, please? I hope you're timing me so that I would know, the pace I'm rushing, all the same. Okay, so this is a continuation of the cheat sheet. So having passed through, you have shortlisted schools for that. Maybe by now you have like from 10 schools, you reduce to 5, and then from 5, you are probably now at 3 that potentially have like sort of financial aid that you could benefit from. So having shortlisted, you go through the, okay, so I broke this down into 3 for college applications, and then for master's or graduate certificate programs, or for PhD programs. So usually you go through what are the requirements? Requirements for each program differs, but essentially all of them are the same in one way or the other because they all have like, that for sure regimented things they're going to ask you for. And so, okay, so I have less than 5 minutes to round up on this first session and then would have responses. So let me run through the slide before we take the break. So for college applications, that's for secondary school students who intend to come to US for their college degree, which is university education. They need to provide their transcripts from their GS1 to SS3 transcripts, letters of recommendations, usually from their teachers, and then they might request for 2 to 4 recommendations from their teachers saying that, they are well behaved, they are this, they are that, they have these abilities, they will cope when they come to the US, all those things. And then statement of purpose or motivational statement. Why do you want to study the US? A lot of segments in that as well. The test of English, that's TOEFL or IELTS. It's compulsory for those that are coming for degree, for university education. And they also sometimes are compelled to take the exams, the SAT or ACT exams as appropriate. However, for master's or graduate program is similar. You would need your college transcripts. That's from 100 level to 500 level, 100 level to 400 level, your complete school transcript. And usually these transcripts, they're, okay, we'll get to that. Maybe after the break, we'll talk about transcripts, international transcript evaluation. So the college transcripts from 100 to 500 level. And then you also need letters of recommendations. And for those of you that are not friends with your professors, with your lecturers, this is a big deal for you because you need to, it's part of going to school. You need to have good relationship with your professors, with your lecturers. I don't believe in going to school and your teachers do not know you. So you need to make your teachers know you, who you are, and know your abilities so that they will be able to write reference for you in the future. Even for some job applications, they request and for this thing. So it's important. And what would they write there? Your character. They would attest to your character, your moral standing, and that you have the ability to read and write, to understand whatever it is, then you have the capability to survive where you're going to, a lot of things you'll put in. I have a lot of my teachers who would, they always do, they even write more than I can imagine for me. So please create that atmosphere and relationship with your mentors, with the people you work with on campus, so that when you need references, they will jump at it and be good help for you. And usually you need like 2 to 4. They want you, for people that are already working, they want you to send some from your previous or current employers. They want the one from your professor or your the dean or whoever it is, a teacher, someone who has taught you before in secondary school. So depending on 2 to 4. So I think it's good to have 4, depending on what they are requesting for anyway. And then your statement of purpose or motivational statement, that's typically where you sell yourself. You would attach your resume to all of these things anyway, but your resume is not enough. And then there might be some gaps in your resume. Then there might be some, lapses in your resume, which you need to make up for. That you want to, for example, Nigerian strike and all, you might, even though there's a gap, I was in school for this long. However, during that period of strike, I was able to volunteer in an organization where I did this, and this, and it helped me, equipped me to be better, stuff like that. So all those things are very, very important. They are important skills that you need to cultivate, because in that, your motivational statement, you need, it needs to be robust. You need, and I think it's just like 2 pages or 3 pages to make a very, very good first impression. So you sell yourself, the things you've done, the things you plan on doing, why you had a low grade in a certain transcript you're sending. Oh yeah, you had difficulty at that period because you had family issues and all, but all those have been resolved now, and you're sure that when you come over, you would have the ability and the right mind to be able to focus on your academics and make the school proud, So you also sell yourself as if you're the one that is you're the one giving something to the school rather than you begging for something from them. That's one position you don't want to be in America. You don't want to look like a beggar. But then it's good to play the card here. It just takes smartness to be able to play this card. So if you need help, you can always contact me. We are putting up like a webinar to be doing those things from time to time, because I have a lot of people in my DM every time asking for help here and there. So please, I'll drop my email at the end anyway, so we could organize other stuff afterward to train people now to write this, because this is what determines if you get the admission or not, specifically your motivation paper. So it's very important. So we'll pause here for now and then we'll resume from the PhD aspect by the time we get back from the break. So over to the host, Sister Yvonne. Hello, who is taking over, or should I continue?
Thank you very much, Priscilla. Wonderful explanations you've done so far. You've said a lot, and we are hoping that with this short time we can do justice to some questions that will be answered. So I would just let Mimi take over from here. She will be taking the Q&A for tonight. So please drop your questions in the chat. We have just 10 minutes to do that, please. Kindly drop your questions. We won't be calling anyone out, so please just drop your questions in the chat box, and then we will read the questions out to our facilitator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yvonne. I hope everyone can hear me. Hello, good evening.
Yes, we can.
Good evening.
We can.
Good evening. Okay. Yeah. Can you see me? I can't see myself. Actually.
We can see you. We can see you. You're looking good.
Okay. We can see you.
What millions? Thank you so much. So we'll just quickly take some of the questions. If you have questions, please just drop the question on the chat, in the chat box. We have this one. Hi, everyone. I'm Maya Gabriel, a 500 level real estate student at Bayero University, Kano. I want to ask if the facilitator can share some scholarship platform available that she's aware of. Thanks. All right, so Coach Priscilla.
Okay, so like I've been saying, people have their minds, we'll still get to it anyway. However, for the purpose of this question, people have their minds fixated on scholarship platforms. Those things do not really work, I tell you. And that's why I'm telling you, go to the source, go to the root, go to the schools, enter their individual websites to see what they have available for you. Relate with them one-on-one, rather than going to some big bodies, agency, Chevron scholarships, Fulbright scholarship that everyone in Nigeria wants to access, that everyone in the whole of Africa wants to get. So you're not placing yourself in a competitive position that way. So that's why I encourage people to go to the school, not to some big platforms that wouldn't work. You just most times waste your time applying because there are 1,001 people that have better applications than you, better, all those things. However, I do not discourage people from applying to those as well. So, and each of these schools as well, they link you to platforms, Randolph scholarship, e.g. George Bush scholarship for international students that are this. They just ask you to write like an essay, like a 500-word essay, and then, they think about all those. So go through the schools. That is what works, not those big names. Those big names are for practitioners. Thank you. However, we'll still talk about it anyway.
Thank you so much for that quick answer. We have another question. This is from Ifani. Ifani is a graduate of biochemistry, but he writes here, I graduated with a second class lower. How can I further my medical studies abroad with my result? A person who has a second class lower in biochemistry and wants to study medicine abroad, is there hope for him, or what exactly can he do?
Of course, there is. Like I said earlier, probably this person joined late. US is not just about grades, although grades do help, but once they see other latent abilities, then you are still, so someone like you need to do a lot of volunteer work. You need to make sure they lay emphasis on practice. US-like practitioners, people that are experienced in their fields, before they come for graduate programs. So it's good for you to spend longer time in school to, you know, amass a lot of knowledge and wealth of knowledge and experience in your field before you then apply. So for someone who wants to do, is it medicine you say you want to do? Yeah, so you have to do health related, you have to have a lot of health related experiences and also volunteer works in that area, in that regard, so that you are tailoring your path. So second class lower doesn't mean third class. That I know people who had third class in Nigeria, they got the admissions here, and then they made best students in their class. They made the Dean's List. Dean's List means you had 4.0, means you had all A's that semester, and they had third class from Nigeria. So it is not a limitation. Just look for other things to put you. You might just not have real competitive advantage in scholarship applications. However, school is available. They want you to come. US universities thrive on international student school fees. They want you to come and pay a lot of school fees. For COVID really hits them hard because they couldn't get international students' school fees are hot cake for them. So make sure you place yourself properly and package yourself well. You will still get what you want. And even if you don't get scholarship for your first year, by your second year, if you're able to work hard and get very good grades, you make the Dean's List, it's automatic scholarship for you the following year in your program. So that's the way it works. All right. Next question.
Thank you so much. And we don't have a next question, but I have a question. So the funding, the scholarship funding, does it cover tuition only? Is it possible to get funding that covers maybe your housing and maybe some form of stipend that someone can use, manage while in school? Is it just scholarship? Is it just for your academics only? And then I have to work to pay for my housing, feeding, and all of that?
All right, we're still going to get to that. So please stay tuned, where we will be getting to the different types of scholarships that we have available that you could possibly access. And we'll still talk about your ability to work in the US as an F1 student with F1 student status. So I'm going to talk about all of those. I hope we have time to go through them.
Okay, let me see if we have any other questions. Okay, we don't have any other questions. So if we do, we go ahead the next session, or do we wait for more questions?
No, I think we should go ahead.
Let's go ahead, please. Let's go ahead. Thank you very much.
All right. So back to what we're doing. So for PhD applications, you want to it's more advanced in terms of, no, go back, please. I'm not done. Yeah, good. So for the PhD applications, you package your graduate transcripts again. Usually, US would require the transcript from your highest degree you are currently holding. And that's why if it's for master's, you give your university transcript. If it's for PhD, you give your master's transcript. Although they will still require for everything, but the one that they really would emphasize on is your master's transcript. So for PhD applications, you put your transcripts together, your letters of recommendation again, which are more detailed this time because it's highly competitive. And I tell you, your PhD, the value of your PhD is mostly attached to, many times is attached to whether your research is sponsored or not, because you're contributing to knowledge as a PhD student, and it doesn't make sense if you have to, pay for it. It doesn't make sense if you're paying for that PhD degree, because you should be paid for going to school. You should be paid for doing that because it's at an advanced stage. So you want to be sure you're getting a good scholarship before embarking on PhD, or like master's or degree or your first degree. So for this one, your statement of purpose and motivational statement has to be tougher and firmer and fuller. Like it's more robust than the other ones, but I don't have time to go into that today. That's a full day training. For those that are interested, we'll set that up sometimes later. Test of English, sometimes we are able to, so okay, I put notes on there. You might be able to waive test of English at the PhD level, especially for Nigerians, because you have studied under using English instruction for your previous degrees. So you can use that to apply for a waiver. you could just email them and say, oh, I do not want to take high FTS or TOEFL because all my life I studied in English. My first degree is in English, my master's is in English, and so I do not see a reason why I should take test of English, and so I wouldn't take it. So I would appreciate a waiver. So usually they wouldn't object. However, I remember when I was coming for my first degree, my master's in California, I didn't do that. I told her, I asked for a waiver from Pepperdine University that no, I'm not going to do it. And then they set up like an online interview for me to really know if I can speak English and to know if like they'll be comfortable, if like I'm okay and I wouldn't. So we had that chit chat and that was it. And they said, oh no, sure, you don't have to take it. And then they waived it for me. And then, but the other school I applied to is Columbia University. That one is the top Ivy League school, and they declined. They didn't show up. They didn't like, they said I needed it compulsorily, even though I had paid, I had sent in stuff. They said, no, I must still take it. At that time it had passed and I didn't even intend to. So I said, no, I wouldn't take it. And that was, I didn't even consider me for the application. I just wasted my money doing that. So all those things you need to find out before you eventually apply for those programs. They are the things you will have seen on their website, things you should have ironed out, like sending emails to the people in charge so that you know if you're doing it or not. Also, for the transcript evaluation service, usually for law students, there's a body. We use the Law School Admissions Council. Yeah, LSAC. We use the LSAC platform. It is in there. They will even be the ones to suggest the schools you want to go for you that have the best programs in masters in law, LLM or PhD in law, because that's the only platform recognized in the US to send and evaluate international transcripts for lawyers. So your school from Nigeria will post the transcript to that body. You pay, it's quite expensive, like over $200 or thereabout. You pay, they evaluate it, and then send it to your school. So they are like middlemen from your school, so in such a way that they are sure the integrity of your transcript is not compromised. So if you are looking for LLM, I have my friends here, my classmates here, go and create an account with LSAC today. It's free, and I think it's free for 5 years. Yes, it's free for 5 years. So you're able to monitor what is going on. Because I created mine, I think since I was in 400 or 500 level. And I still used it when I was coming many years after. So it is really, really critical. However, application timeline for science students, they use WES, WES majorly. There are several other transcript organizations, so you just need to know which one the school wants so that you wouldn't have wasted your money sending to one and then the school says no, they only receive from AACRA or they only receive from WES. So you need to find out exactly which one. That's why correspondence is important. Test of English waiver, you need to have discussed that with them so that it won't be like the first experience I had that I had already paid and then I just lost that opportunity. Then waiving the exams. Some will put there, yeah, you have to do GRE, you have to do this, but if you're able to speak with them and be like, no, I don't need it, I'm a lawyer for my country, or no, I'm a certified nurse, a lot of things like that. However, there are some that they are rigid and you cannot waive them, but at least try your luck to, cut down on some expenses first and foremost. However, those exams are good because they place you especially when you have very good results in them. So they push you up the ladder and make, you more open to scholarships, and you might be more qualified for some scholarships if you take those exams than if you do not. So all those things you need to also consider. And then continuous follow-up. You need to keep interacting with the school, whoever is in charge. Let them know you is a way. So because, the way this people's mind work, when they're already communicating with, so they're already feeling like, oh, I want to meet you, they just find a way, they try to go out of their way to make sure you get there. And, because you have already gotten so familiar with them and, like that. However, the school you're going also depends because of some people in the West and some people in the East. I think the Western US is more, they are more friendly, unlike those on the East. I'm now in the East Coast. I used to be in the West Coast. The reception from the West Coast was really, really beautiful. But in this East Coast, oh my God, they are so shrewd and they can be so, I don't want to say. So all this, we'll still get to cultural shock and how to handle all these things eventually, if we have time today. But if not, then some other time. All right, so next slide, please. Okay, yeah, so this is the culture shock part. So preliminary considerations. So when you want to apply for international studies in the US, you want to consider the cost of living of having shortlisted all those schools, and from 10 to 5, 5 to 3, you're on 3 now. They have financial aid for you and all those things. However, it cannot be enough. Also, what is your what cost of living? Most times on those schools website, they will estimate the cost of living for each student per semester. They will put it there, you know, the cost of accommodation, the cost of feeding, you know, just general estimate. They get that from students and then they put them together and find an average. And that's what they post online. So you want to compare this through the 3 schools you are going to. Which one is cheaper for me, you know, or which one is more expensive that I should avoid? And then, you know, you balance it. Also, weather condition. You don't want to come from Nigeria and go to all these places that you will be freezing. Well, people are in Canada anyway, so we can't do too much shakara here. You have options around here, but Canada is, you know, a bit of a very cold climate. So, well, you will cope. But for you, if you know you have issues with cold climate, all those things, then you want to avoid schools in the cold areas. You don't want to go there. And then you look for somewhere around California that is, you know, all year around. Is just like almost like Nigeria weather. No, you know, not too much sun, no cold, no, you know, like that. Almost summer all through the year. So local food availability. Oh my God, when I was in California, there was a week I got so tired of all their burgers and nonsense stale foods. And I was like, oh my God. Now in Nigeria, you'd be like, oh yeah, I want to eat American foods, but there's gonna be a time you get tired of them and you just want home food, you want real food, you know. This is when you know the value of Nigerian food when you get here. And so at that point, you know, for like a week, I was tired of all the food that I was eating in the cafeteria, and I said no. I was just eating, it was just orange juice and chicken I could eat just that period, because I couldn't wait to come down to Georgia where I would have access to homemade foods and like real African food. So because the part I was in California, and it's a diverse environment. However, the part I was in Malibu, and Malibu is a grossly white populated area, and most of their things are regulated. So very limited, no access to any African stuff or whatever. So I had to just make do with what was available. But now I'm in Georgia. I have African store that is just I can trek to from my house. That is just like 1 minute drive from my house to the African store. So it's really, really convenient, and it might be expensive, but I know at least I get to have my Nigerian foodstuffs, you know, in stock. Also, you want to think about support system. Where do you have relatives? Because this place can be really lonely at times, even in the midst of loving people, it can be very lonely, I tell you. So you want to look for a place where you have the spiritual connection, where you have the family connection. It is very important. A lot of people from Nigeria want to go and say, I know, I don't want anybody to say they helped me. You're deceiving yourself and you will suffer. Oh my God. So you need support system in the US. You need support system. It's important. It's a plus. So if you have it, make good use of it. If you do not have it, look for it in the spiritual family. Look for it in the church. Look for it in the community, in the school. But if you have family, you can, you know, at least from time to time see. You know, it's different. I tell you, it's different. And public transportation here in the US, everybody has a car. Like from secondary school, they drive to school. From like senior year, they drive to school. They drive their parents' car, or their parents even buy them cars to drive to school, because the system here, depending on where you are, because for states like New York, they have a very good transportation system, public transportation system. For places like California, places like Georgia, very, very poor transportation system. So you consider, okay, am I buying a car when I get there, or will I be using transportation? So all these things would also determine the location of the school that you are going to, so that you won't, you know, suffer and put yourself in harm's way. Because Uber can be really expensive. When I was in California, I didn't have a car, and I had to go everywhere with Uber. But thank God I had a lot of international community friends who had cars, and so I could go grocery shopping with them. And my church was also not far from the school, so I could still manage. It's just once in a while I had to spend so much on Uber going. Even if I want to do Uber from my house to grocery store, it was just like $10. Yeah, it was just about $9. It wasn't any big deal. But if you are in a place where you didn't consider all those things, man, you know. Also, expenses. It's expensive to study in the US, very, very expensive. And I tell you, you can't say you're going to US all fully paid, expense paid. No, you must look for, you must start saving at least. You must have some savings, you must have something to show for it. Even the scholarship doesn't work the way we think. It doesn't work as if it takes care of all your burdens or all your troubles or all your problems. No, it doesn't work that way, far from it. It only works with you having strategically planned out this period of your life, having strategically prepared for this period, because you can't just wake up one day and it's impossible, and it's going to lead to a lot of things you don't want to get into. And that's what makes people go illegal and do all sorts of nonsense and stay back when, you know. So for your tuition, you want to know how much is the tuition, whatever financial aid you have gotten, you want to know how much it is covering. For your books, I also have links to e-library. I used to buy books before, very expensive, but one textbook might be like over $100, over $60. There was one I even bought almost like $200, like that. But you don't have to spend that money. There are links, real links that you download all textbooks free of charge. Like every day you can download up to like 10 textbooks, different types. You don't find on one, you find on the other. So there are a lot of hacks and, you know, ways to survive all those things. So I have those ones. And also for your accommodation, are you living on campus or off campus? Usually it is more expensive to stay on campus, but when you know you don't have a car, then it's cheaper for you to stay on campus. That was what I did when I was in Malibu. I stayed on campus, and my walk from my room to the library where I was working and to the class was just like 3 minutes. From the room to the law school was just 3 minutes walk for me, because I know I didn't have a car. So all these things you need to. So if they tell you that, when you are coming, no, but house is cheaper outside, you don't mind school, and then you go rent house outside, the suffering you will suffer to come to school every day, nobody will hear. You think you are being cheap on rent, but then it's more expensive transporting yourself down. So all those things you need to consider. Also your health insurance. Then I just came, I didn't know. It was a school that did health insurance for me. I paid $2,500 for one semester, $2,500 for 4 months. Health insurance that I didn't even use, wasted, because it's compulsory. You must be on health insurance, and that's what gives you the opportunity to go to the hospital when you're sick. So without an health insurance, it's difficult to access healthcare. Healthcare in this place is really messed up. So you want to be sure of all those things. However, now I know how to bring it so down to like 300 per month, or even like, but with the current work I'm doing, with the current assistantship I'm on, they pay my tuition, full tuition, and then they pay stipends monthly. And then I'm able to still use the university's healthcare. And so I just pay like $100 for healthcare every month. So that's like barest minimum. That's because my employer is bearing the burden, but it's not like that. Typically in this place, you still get to spend like $350, $300 every month on insurance. That's, so how much do you want to spend from your scholarship? So for your feeding and clothes, of course, you're coming here, you can't be wearing Nigerian clothes again to a large extent, because it's cold, the climate is different depending on where you are. And so I didn't have so much of change like that when I came, because I was in California and I could still wear summer clothes. However, as the winter drew near, oh my God, I was freezing and I had to get, a lot of all those things. So you need to budget for them as well. So next slide, please, Minister Ore. Okay, so these are scholarships. So like the question that was asked earlier, merit-based scholarships. This is because you have a very good grade and you did excellently well. Like your transcript space good, maybe first class, maybe a high 2-1, good motivation, good experience, all those things. That is for merit-based scholarships. However, for need-based scholarships, it's you demonstrate that, even though I know my academic record might not be that high, at least for the person who asked, I had the 2-2 or I had the third class, even though my academics, this is not so high. However, because of this situation, my parents are retirees and they cannot sponsor me, and I have not saved enough to sponsor myself. And this is really important for me to get to the next phase of my life. And I also look forward to doing this and this and this for the benefit of your institution. I look forward to graduating and becoming an alumni of the institution and giving back to the institution. You know, these are the lines they want you to hear. These are the things they want to keep hearing. These are the things I encourage them that I know this one will be a good candidate. Also, full or partial, that's need-based scholarship. By saying I don't have money, I want to do this, but I don't have money. Those things are gonna take it. That's why I just listed them in. They're just bullet points. I can't really go into them. Then full or partial scholarships are the ones that are awarded by your school, usually for law degrees. I tell you, you're deceiving yourself if you think you can find full scholarships, because they operate as partial. It's really, really hard. It's very hard to find full scholarships for law degrees or for masters in law. The highest you could possibly get 50 to 60% thereabout. But then the remaining 40% or 50% you can make up with another external scholarship which the school can link you to, or another fellowship which the school can link you to. So all those things, that's why I still say begin from the school's website. Assess the opportunities your school have for you. Your school have more than enough opportunities for you to an extent that even the outside ones are there as well, and they are okay for you, they are sufficient. And then, so full scholarship is when 100% is taken care of. For example, all this for nursing, for tech, for all the sciences, all the STEM related courses, it's easier for them to get full sponsorship and full funding. However, full funding to the extent of your tuition, full funding to the extent of your, tuition, and not living expense. So living expense is still on you. It's very difficult to find scholarships that will cover for living expense and all those, except for PhD level, where they would then give you, as a graduate research assistant, they give you stipends, which is to cover or augment your living expenses. So you need to consider all these things. They are different. You can't just come, they will not take full responsibility for you 100%. They want to see something from you. Also, graduate research assistantships, graduate teaching assistantship. Like I currently teach American governments for first, second year students now. And then they pay me monthly stipends. I'm doubling as a GRE and a GTA because I'm also doing another research for USAID. So all those things are like benefit for me and on my resume and all those things. But then the money is still not so sufficient, you get, to like give me the kind of life I want. So all of those things you need to consider, you need to put into consideration before you take the bus, before you take the plane. And then fellowships. Okay, fellowships are the ones that to a large extent they want to give you living expenses. However, even these fellowships are also limited. Some fellowship will sponsor you from like where you're coming from. They will pay your flight ticket to and fro. You know, those ones are big, but really these fellowships exist for practitioners, like people that have like doctors that have been working for like 10 years plus, like people that are like at the top of their career, wherever they are coming from. They're usually the people that are able to access these fellowships because, you know, it's for people like that. So, others, there are several other small scholarships in school. Maybe this one will give you $1,000. You just say, write about your experience when something happened to you. If you write a good essay, you submit it, they give you $2,000, they give you $3,000, they give you one, they'll have told you how much it is. So it's like competitive. You can write for as many as possible, different bodies, you know, and you can be getting all those ones, 1,000 here, 2,000 here, 3,000 here. And that way you're able to augment and sustain, put body and soul together. But those are not things you plan on majorly, because these things are highly competitive and you cannot guarantee getting them yet. So also, okay, so writing the personal statement and essay for scholarship purposes, that's another topic I can't go into. Exclusive loan options, I talked about it the other time. I can't go into it as well now, but we'll talk about it some other time. I'm gonna give you my email on another platform. We'll settle that. Can we proceed, please? Okay, so for universities awarding scholarships, let me know if you're still here. I want to be sure I'm not talking to myself. Can you please type into chat box something like, yeah, still here, we're listening. I just want some sort of feedback to be sure we are here and we're listening. Okay. All right, still. Okay, good. Okay. So universities awarding scholarships and fellowships to international students. So I will tell you that most universities in the US, they offer full or partial scholarships to international students. I'd overflown that already. However, most Ivy League schools offer scholarships to students, international students as well. And when I mean Ivy League, I mean the League of Harvard, Stanford, what's the name of the school? There are several, Columbia, several Ivy League universities, and most times we get scared and we feel like, no, I don't want to apply there. Let me just go to the smaller schools of JJ, and I fear being. But however, our chances of scholarships are higher in those schools because those schools have funding. They have a large alumni body. And then the kind of people that apply to them every year, they generate a lot of money, thousands of dollars or millions already from the applications that go there. So they have more than enough money to sponsor the candidates that demonstrate the need for it, that demonstrate the aptitude and readiness and, for it. So do not shoot yourself on the foot. Do not look down on yourself. Please proceed to apply to those schools. Apply to them and don't feel like, no, me, Harvard. Even the ones that are quite easy to even get into. So please, as long as you have the track record and everything that is necessary, why not give it a shot? I don't know why I never did myself. My brother told me, he said, no, you stand a chance. I said, me, no. But now I know better. That really just give it a shot. The people that are there, to all of them will tell you that, me, how did I get to Harvard? They didn't know too, but they just tried and they got in. And most of my professors, that's what they say, like, how could I have gone to Harvard, And so you find that even these people, you have like a better distinct than them sometimes. So try and cast your net. The Bible says, cast your bread upon many waters, so that after many days you shall find it. Cast it and see what it brings back. So for Emory, okay, so these are the universities. For those of you asking, these are examples of universities that you are sure they always have international student scholarships. So you can write them down, look them up, and begin from there for your searches. That's if they have your course, and if they're in a climate area that is convenient for you, and if they're not too expensive for living expenses. So all of those things I told you to consider as well. Could we move to the next slide, please? Okay, Miracle, I see your hand up. Do you want to ask a question or say something? So for someone that asked about the organizations awarding scholarships or fellowships to international or African students, you can check out Fulbright, you can check out MasterCard, you can check out World Bank. All those ones do for the United States. There are there are larger numbers that concentrate on European countries like Erastus Mundi, Mo Ibrahim, Chevnin, a lot of them, Fulbright as well. A lot of them for European countries, for those that want that European countries are their destinations. In fact, for Nigerian students, you access a lot of them. So make use of them as well. Never say never. Next slide, please. All right. So after you have gone through all those things, you have put in all your applications, you are in constant touch with those people and blah, blah. The next order to face is your visa application, which is which can be very funny. It's easy for some, is tough for some. It was quite easy for me because I didn't really have my mind in, like, I was okay whether I wasn't desperate at the point I went. So I think that helped. So I told myself, if I get it, good. If I don't, good. So it placed me in a very conducive mind frame. Like my mind space was really good and I wasn't desperate for it. But then there are a lot of things you must have done your own work. You can't just go there. They are not stupid people, and you don't want to joke with them when you get to the point of applying for your visa. Because I have a couple of people that have, at this point, they couldn't get past it for like repeated times. They couldn't get past it. So you need to do your. I offer coaching for people that want to go for their visa application. So if you're at that stage already, you can contact me and we could walk through it together or in a team. So I'll let you know how that goes anyway. So for the requirements, of course, by the time you're done, you get your admission letter. We celebrate. The next order is a visa. So you must have paid for your service fee. Yeah, you must have paid for your service fee. Then the school would issue, service fee should be like over $200 thereabouts. And then the school will issue to you your F1 students. They will issue to you your I-20. There's a document called I-20. That's what validates your stay in the US. That document, even when your visa expires when you're in the US, that document, if it has not expired, you still you can still remain in US for as long as that document is valid and has not expired. However, for once you get it, that's what you would take with you to the embassy for the appointment, whenever date you have set for your appointment, after filling all your stuffs online, and then you go. And then you go with your 2 recent passports. For me, the day I went, I didn't know it. I just went with normal passports because for me, I actually I needed to go there with, so I had to snap passport that money by the US embassy. Like, you know, now Lagos people, you will pay like ×5. What was ×5? So I think then passport was just like maybe 500 for like 6. And then you were telling me you will do 2 passports for me for, is it 2,000 or something like that? One very outrageous, but I didn't have a choice. I go angry, I said I didn't know, but I need more. I need this thing, and my interview is in. I'm ready. I can't go back home. So I had to pay something like that. Something very outrageous and annoying. So that was it. And then by the time I had to get that, and then so make sure you go with the specification, the US specification, the measurements, you see it on their website, and then your valid international passport that isn't expiring anytime soon, and then your admission letter from your school. Then you have to show proof of funding. That's the major thing they want to see at the embassy. You want to prove to the consular that I have enough funding that will sustain me for the duration of my stay in the US, either through scholarship or through sponsorship, maybe from your current employer or from your dad or from your family member or from an organization that is interested in sponsoring you for this program. So this is very, very, very important. You have to show proof of funding. How do you show it? You go with, there was a guy, he had to go, he went and he said, no, you said your dad is a retiree, how is he gonna pay? He said, no, he has money in his account. The father already wrote the sponsorship letter, but it wasn't sufficient. But thankfully, the father told him that I just carry all those files with my land documents, my oil stations and all gas stations and everything. That was what saved the guy, because they were like, no, we want to see more proof. It's not sufficient. So you want to go with as much proof as possible. You want to go with your with the sponsorship letter. You want to go with the statement of accounts for the past 6 months minimum. Showing that there's enough money in the accounts and that will be sufficient while you are there. If you have a partial scholarship, and even if you have full scholarship that does not include stipends, that does not include living expenses, you want to tie all those loose ends, because we just come and say, they denied me. Why? You didn't do your homework before going. Also, your task actually at the embassy is that, because the consular is there to say the consular is just like principally there to believe and assume that by default that you want to run away from Nigeria and you don't want to come back. And your task there is to get there and to tell the consular that I'm coming back to Nigeria. That's all. Once you are able to play that mind game together and you successfully go through, there are a lot of tricks and tactics that are also, from my own. At the point, the man said something, and then he just went quiet after I told him, yeah, this is the reason why I'm going, this is what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay. And then as I asked a lot of questions about my brother, who came here to study and stayed back and was already working, already had a permanent residence. And so, you could already infer that maybe my brother. I said, yeah, you know what, I'm not my brother. And I am coming back to Nigeria. My husband is here, and this is home for me. I have businesses here, and so I am coming back. Okay. At that point, okay, your visa is approved. I had to pull that strong string for him, and it was at that point. So there are a lot of experiences with people. So you want to also prove your ties. So I could use my husband to prove my tie. I could use my businesses to prove my tie. I could use my work that, okay, I was taking a leave of absence, and whenever I was coming back, I could still have my work, my job. So I can't just go and abscond. And then I could, so to prove all these things, your child, maybe my child is still here, I can't leave my child here. So you need to prove ties to your own country. It goes a long way in giving you a standard proof before the consular, and to ensure that, to let them know that you're definitely coming back. Okay, I think we've gone far. Can we have the next slide, please? Okay, so working on F1 status. Okay, so a lot of people want to come here, they just feel it's automatic, just come here and you can work. You are in heaven, no. Yeah, I know why. Oh, because I think over the years, a lot of people just come in with that intention to just work, and then they use school as a pathway to come in. But the system is now wiser, is now getting wiser, and they have really blocked F1 students on every side. So the only thing you can do is to work 20 hours a week. You can only work 20 hours a week on campus. You can only do campus jobs and you're employed by your university. You can't work outside the campus. You can't do Uber. You can't do Lyft. You can't do anything. You can't do anything for people around. You can't, even if you get jobs, you don't have the permission to work. So all these things are the dilemma international students run into, and then your bills are staring at you in the face. And if you go ahead to break the rule catches up with you, you're going out. And then, or when it's time for you to then apply for job, like official permits, then it becomes impossible for you. So you don't want to break it, and you want to maintain it. Like for me, when I just came, I was working in the law library, which was really pretty minimal, because I was doing just like 2 hours, 3 days, 3 times a week. Yeah, like 6 hours, something like that. But at least the next time, it was still able to sustain me. I was sustaining myself to an extent with it, but then the hours increased over time. So CPT is also a situation whereby it's a requirement that you take like an internship while you're still in school. So that one is very good if you get the one that will pay you. However, most CPT opportunities are unpaid. OPT is the one that really makes sense, because after your study year, you have 1 full year to work as a student here. You have 1 full year to work as to practice what you have learned in school. So they will give you the authorization to work, although after a lot of processes. And so that period is when you're able to meet employers, work for real money and get paid real money, unlike the peanuts that they pay on campus. They pay like minimum wage for students on campus, like $15 an hour, thereabouts, for students when you're still working on campus. Even if you do 20 hours a week, 15 times 20, how much is that? So unlike when you really get out and you get paid like good money. So that's OPT. But however, after 1 year, that's where people then find affiliations with good companies who are able to sponsor them and say, okay, oh, we like this person, he has worked with us for a year. We want to retain you as a worker in this company. But then it's tough, because you have to prove to US that what this person can do, there is nobody in this entire US that has this qualification and that has the ability this person has. So can you imagine that caveat, which makes it very difficult for internationals to get sponsorship? So most people just say, we love you, we like you, we want you to work with us, but unfortunately, we cannot, whatever it is you are doing, somebody else can do it better. Somebody else can do the same. How can you prove that to the government? So that's the bottom rock. That's the ones that are really in hot, that are real hot cake and hot spots jobs are nursing, anything in the health area, and also tech. Anything tech related is very, very good, because most of those you can easily prove that, no, this person knows this analysis that I don't know. No, this person knows, and it's difficult to find, So if you're looking at something, I would advise, even within your area of concentration, your area of discipline, look further to see if there's any nexus between any tech, because that's a smart way to be able to distinguish yourself beyond your profession, beyond what you currently do. So those are the hotcakes around here: health, tech, nursing, doctors, pharmacies, psychotherapists. They're the ones getting it here, like easily for internationals. Others, it is well. Then STEM OPT extension is for those in STEM. They give them extension for like 3 years. And then for H1B upgrade, so by the time you have worked with somebody for 3 years, of course, the person will want to say, okay, let's continue. And then up to the permanent residence position, like after 3.5 years, and then after 10 years, citizenship. So it's a long journey. Can we have the next slide? My time is up. Okay, so I said what are you still waiting for? And then for the advanced coaching class on this topic, step-by-step coaching through any or every of the processes mentioned, one-on-one visa coaching, please reach out to me. This is my email. We'll type it also in the chat box. Reach out to me and we'll find a way to work together and make your dreams come true. Also to write your personal statement, motivational statements. I'm your guru. Contact me. All right, next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is extras. Okay, Naira versus dollar, blackness and whiteness, accent issue. These are really funny issues. Okay, I guess my time is up. If we have extra time from questions, I can quickly come back to this. But for now, let's do the questions, final questions. Thank you. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Hello, should I continue? Yes, you can reach out to me for Canada-related scholarship, Europe, Canada, US. Yeah. Okay, Empower financing is awesome. And Empower financing is very good for people schooling in US and Canada. And I know a lot of people that it has worked for, and it's still working. As long as you can prove that once you're done, you'll be able to pay. However, the interest rate is very high because the risk attached is really serious, given that, you know, they don't know if you abscond thereafter or whatever. And so that's why the interest rate is very high, but they will give you whatever it is you need once you give them all the necessary documentations and you're able to prove that you have an employer who's willing and ready to employ you immediately you're done, or there's or you're sure you're going to get a job. For example, for nursing, they'll quickly give you, because there are 1,001 jobs, they're looking for nurses and they're going to give you like sure, direct opportunities to practice nursing. And they would even to a large extent sponsor your permanent residency and all those things. So for nursing, for tech, they will give you with immediate alacrity. So, but for other disciplines, you may have to prove other things. But yes, it works and it's very, very good, and I recommend it.
Thank you so much, Priscilla. Very exciting time we've had so far. We have 10 minutes, please, to drop our questions. 10 minutes to drop and answer every question. So please, let's make it very fast. Just drop your questions in the chat box, and the facilitator or the moderator, whoever sees it first, will read it out and answer your questions. So please, let's do that quickly. Thank you very much. Okay, we have another question in the chat box. It says, what are the advantages of including the professor you want to work with in your SOP?
Okay. The professors you want to work with in your SOP. That's pretty much for PhD level. So your statement of purpose would include you talking about the likely professors you might want to do research with, and that's because your research focus is kind of similar, or you have things to learn, and or you've read the person's work and you like something about it and you hope to learn from him. So that is when it is required to mention the names of professors that you like to work with. Otherwise, don't shoot yourself on the foot. What if that professor is not available at the master's level? So I think it's not advisable to do that at the master's level, but it's very okay to do that at PhD because it is actually required at the PhD level.
Okay, thank you very much for that. We have another question. It says, well done, Priscilla and other facilitators. Are you privy to master's scholarship opportunities in the UK? Also, how does one identify institutions of repute in good locations in the UK actually and US as well? Or does one just apply to any institution that offers your intended course?
Okay, so for that, I would say it depends on what you want. I'd be mean to have you here, love to your husband. So I would say it depends on where you want to, what you want and your personal aspirations. I would say if it's your first experience schooling outside Nigeria, I would say don't put your eyes so much on the big schools. There are good options as well. You could, it doesn't mean, you know, but I think it's good to start from what offers you the best. Like what are the best opportunities you have? So first and foremost, you want to cast your nets. You want to see as many opportunities that are available. And that's why I said start with Google. Type top 10 programs in the name of the course you want to do in the UK, top 10 programs in distances in the US, top 10 programs in this in Canada. And that's how it's going to bring you those top 10. And then you would go into them one by one. It takes time, it takes days, it takes months, it takes years until you're sure of what you want to do, until you finally get to the one that you say, yes, this is where I want to be. For me, I really appreciate God for that school because that school it made purpose clear for me. And seriously, I couldn't have wished for any other school than Pepperdine, where I had my master's, because it changed my trajectory, it changed my professional focus, and he aligned me more to purpose. And I'm grateful to God for it. So I think it's very important to work with God on that part as well. But cast your net, see the opportunities available. Don't just say it is just this school or no other. They don't really care about things like that around there. Although there are some schools that are just, they open doors. They don't, once you have Harvard on your resume, you're good. Like they wouldn't even ask you, what can you do? You know, some are just door opening, you know, but then you can still get a Harvard after. Like me now, I can just decide to do any course in Harvard now. And, you know, just one small course, just to have Harvard on my resume. I'm good. I don't need to do any long degree or any big deal course on it. So all those big schools, yes, you can get them, but for the first one, look for the one that offers you the best opportunities and go for it. So start by, it takes time. You would have to search it out yourself. Nobody can make the decision for you. You would have to, you know, check them out yourself, look through them one by one, check through each of their websites, check what they are offering you, compare them to each other, compare it to where you want to be, compare it to where you would like to be, compare it to your purpose and your professional development. And that is how you will then be able to, you know, extract where you want to be and follow the path for yourself. So I think that's the brief fastest I can go on that.
Okay. In the absence of, okay, are there more questions? I don't think so. Okay, we have some. Over to you, Mimi. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We have this question from I'm trying to pronounce that name. It's something like Greek. Okay. EA. Do environmental related courses have some advantage as health and tech, as you have mentioned? So do they also get those job advantages and scholarship advantages you talked about for STEM students?
Okay, so for me, I just pretty much mentioned the top of the top. Again, doesn't mean that other opportunities do not exist. And one thing I'm always sure of and that I believe in is in God's leading and God's direction and God's favor. So irrespective of whatever field you are, you just trust that, yeah, God will make a way for me and He will. But however, I just mentioned those ones specifically because they are the ones that are in high demand at the moment. Who knows what might happen tomorrow? But however, environmental related courses due to climate change, I think is really hot cake at the moment as well. And it's something you want to look into. So it makes a lot of sense. And I would encourage you to pursue it, because even if it's not so much of hot cake in Nigeria, here in the Western world, they've gone really far. So it's good to pursue it and distinguish yourself in that line. So that way you create a trajectory that, everyone wants to associate with and sell yourself in the market. So that's good. Keep it up.
Okay, so do we have any further questions? All right, thank you, Akabwe, EA. Thank you so much for that question. Okay, so let me ask this. Now, for students who are married and who have to travel alone, are there opportunities for their family them, or at what point can you begin to work to have maybe abroad?
Okay, yeah. That's a very good question. And I would say, yes, they have the opportunity to start, even to go with them from the very beginning. And they do that very well because the system, one thing about America is that they believe in family a lot. They believe in family and they do not believe that families should be separated, until the last administration who messed that up and kind of messed up with that value to a large extent. However, it is very important to note that once you go for school, because it's where you're going and you need full concentration, you need support from your family members. So on that basis, when you go for your visa interview, it's another, I would coach you differently for those that are applying together with their husbands or their wives with their children. But yes, US embassy mostly gives and they grant full F1 status visa to the person that is doing the course, and then they grant F2 status to the dependents, that is the spouse and the children. So it's possible for them to grant a couple and their 4 children, all of them visas to come to the US. But on the strong basis that they still have some sort of ties with Nigeria, in terms of maybe the guy is just on a work leave and his job is, he has a lucrative job, a good life, or the wife or whoever is going and can prove that, no, I have ties and I'll still come back. As long as you're able to prove that tie to the country that, no, I don't intend to migrate like totally, it's a temporal immigration for purposes of academics and study. And once we are done, we're coming back. As long as you are able to convince the consular on this standard at each point in time, and also that you have enough funding available to sponsor yourself, your spouse, and your children, then they would let you immediately grant it. So that's the way it works. The exception was just created in the last administration, but already it has been corrected now. So you have nothing to worry about as long as you're able to prove this ties and financial aspect of it.
Thank you so much. We have another question from Gunnar Fule. He says, as a lawyer, can I move to tech-related courses? As a rejoiner to that question, so those who don't have background in sciences, who now want to do maybe a master's or a degree in STEM, since that's like where that's like most of the job opportunities are coming in that direction. What are their options? So I studied accounting, or I have my first degree in mass comm, and now I want to do tech. What are the processes? What can I do to help myself?
The same process we've been talking about. You go to the, you type top 10 data science programs, top 10 data science master's program in the US. Or if you have a specific location, top 10 data science master's program in New York. Top 10, begin with that. You can never go wrong. And then you begin to shortlist, and then you see the requirements. So mostly you might have to take a GRE or all those related general exams, the profile exams as necessary. They will list out their requirements on their website, and no two applications are the same, but there are just some constants, which we already discussed earlier. So I would encourage you to, it's a good move, and you are moving according to the tide. And seriously, there will be some certain jobs, that kind of combination of skill sets as a lawyer and as a data scientist, merging both together it distinguishes you. And so when there's a need for you in a certain organization, they are able to say, oh, this person stands out of the average American. We didn't find an American to fill this position because of the skill sets this person possesses. Possesses the lawyer skill set and also possesses the data scientist. Although most times your first degree will go on the background, especially as a law student or as a lawyer, because for me, when I got here, because I didn't take the bar exams, and so I'm not licensed to practice like law really, but I'm licensed to practice alternative to dispute resolution. So I said for me, that wasn't the track. I came here to specialize in dispute resolution and not to be a lawyer again. So that was the reason why I didn't have a reason to take the bar exam. If I want to take the bar exam tomorrow, I can just send them my transcript and everything. They will grant me permission to take it if I want to, but that's not the trajectory I'm taking. So, but bringing that law, so it's somehow because you're bringing in law from a different jurisdiction to the US. So typically, except you take a degree in law or you take their bar exams, even after taking the bar exams, you still believe you didn't go to their law school here. So that's always a challenge that law students face when they come here. So you either decide to pursue the whole full thing, go the long haul, or to specialize in something different. So, but then this skill set is very, very good. And I would encourage you to pursue it because it's the future. And so keep it up.
Thank you so much, Coach Priscilla. Thank you so much. So quick announcement, I'll put on the chat box so that you can all see it. So you can join this community, Navigating with Noel. All you need to do is just click on the link on in the chat box, and our next event is going to be March, and we're talking finance and investment. So if you want to get access to all of those information, like they say, information is power. You're as powerful as what you know. You're as wealthy as what you know. So if you want to have access to more value adding information, join the community, click on the link, join the community, and then our next edition will be in March when we'll be talking about finance and investment. At this stage, I want to thank our coach. Thank you for your time. Really, really appreciate all of your effort and the investment you have impacted in people's lives. Your work and your labor will not be in vain. Thank you, Ify. Thank you, Pastor Noel. Thank you, everyone who is thank you, Samuel. Thank you, AB, Adebola, Anada, Awulu, Bakari, Oluwagbemi, Nija, Blessing, Comfort, Edino, Emeka Favor. Thank you for joining. Emeka Obafemi, EA, because I can't pronounce your name fully, that's why I'm just calling you EA. Enimian, I can't have way. Sorry, my dear. If iPhone 11, Galaxy 88, Inyolua, Josiah, Kende Miracle, Odi, Olawale, Olua Mayowa, Olua Sheun, Queen Slin, thank you so much. Stephanie, thank you. Taye Olua, Wale Dada, Yomi, Yvonne, everyone, thank you so much. So it's a wrap today. We hope to see you next month. Next month is not far. It's just a few hours from now. So don't think it's a long time from now. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening. I'll hand over to Yvonne. There are other announcements. Over to you, Yvonne.
Thank you so much, Mercy. We have all been unmuted, so please kindly, we've been given permission to unmute. So please kindly unmute and thank our facilitator for an amazing time tonight. Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Thank you, man.
My pleasure, everyone. Thanks for coming. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you
coming.
very much. God bless you.
And you
Thank you very
too.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you.
all.
Thank you
Have a
very
good
much.
night's rest.
All right. Bye, everyone.
And
Thank
ahead.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Auntie Priscilla,
Bye.
thank you.
Bye, everyone. Yes. And my baby, Mitty Joy. How are you? Let me call you. Bye.